Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dorothy here from the CCMA. You're very welcome. We're going to give it a couple of minutes just to let the last few people who are due to sign in sign in. At the moment, we have everybody on mute. And what we're asking is, if possible, if you can see my screen there, if you have any questions or if you have any difficulties, if you can't hear me, if you could just type me a little message there and I'll see it down in that corner if you don't mind. And hopefully, just to suggest that all of you have the awards form open in front of you, which is available to download from the website under the awards page. So this is the categories and application criteria for 2018, which is what I'll be going through on this call. And I'll also be putting a copy of this presentation up on the website after the call as well. And we'll also be recording the call. So if you have any questions or if you want to share it with any of your teams afterwards, please feel free to do that. It might take me an hour or so to get it up there, but it will be there. Great. I think we have most of the people we're expecting on. If each of you could just quickly let me know through the chat box that you can hear me okay, I'll just kick off then, if that's all right. Okay, I'm hoping everybody can hear. Great, thanks. Brilliant, thanks everybody. Okay, so I'm hoping the call will only take probably no more than half an hour, 40 minutes. But as I say, any questions, I'll have to keep reminding myself any questions, but I'll kick off for the moment anyway. Okay, so very quickly through our agenda. As I said, we've everybody on mute just because in previous years we get a lot of the background noise, so it's just easier to put everybody on mute. So what we're going to cover today is why you should enter the awards, a quick overview of the 17 award categories. I'm conscious quite a number of people on the call are award stalwarts, so you probably know all the detail. We've made a couple of changes this year and I'll just quickly highlight those to you. Briefly explain the judging process, have some hints and tips, dates for your diaries, and as I say, we can take any questions and I'll keep an eye on the questions panel as we go along. At the end, we'll unmute everybody, but as I say, if you think of a question during the presentation, please put it in the chat box if you can, which would be great. And I think you've all given me the message, so we can skip this one. Thank you for letting me know you can hear okay. And that's just the last housekeeping tip then. If you've not dialed your audio pin, you can do that now. So the 2018 awards, this year we've continued with 17 categories, and I suppose in terms of companies that are on the call that haven't entered before, we certainly encourage you to consider it this year, and we certainly are here to help you in whatever way we can to explain the process, and certainly happy after today's call if anybody has more detailed questions or wants a little bit more support, feel free to give me a call or drop me an email and we can set up a call or a meeting in the next couple of weeks, and we'd be happy to do that. But why we encourage companies to enter the awards, and the awards are open to CCMA members and non-CCMA members, but we really feel the awards recognise the standards and the excellence within the Irish customer and shared services industry sector. It's an opportunity for us as an industry to showcase all of the great work that's being done in the organisations, many of you on the call today. It also, certainly the feedback we get from companies who win awards, and even going through the process and being highly commended or being shortlisted, is that it gives great encouragement and recognition for the particular operation, but it can also be a springboard for entering other global or European awards. And we really do find, especially at the people and the team awards, that it really can have a very positive impact on, employee motivation, on engagement. And for some of the international companies, it really helps them be recognised on a global scale within their organisation. And obviously for Irish Indigenous companies as well, it's a way of, getting an accolade from industry peers. And it's a really way of helping in terms of your marketing and sales activities if you can show that you've been recognised for your customer service support. So the entrants we get come from a range of categories, Indigenous, multinational and international companies, and they obviously come from a range of sectors as well. And for those who are maybe new to the awards this year, I'd encourage you to have a look on the website on the awards page for last year, and you'll actually see a PDF document, a book of the night, that you can download. And that's a great way of seeing who's been involved in the awards previously, but the type of things that the judges are looking out for in the different categories, because we explain why a particular company won a particular category. So I would certainly encourage you to have a look at the book of the night from 2017 that's there to download on the website. So as I said, we've 17 categories, and they're sort of split into different units, as it were. So we have what we would consider to be the people categories, and these are the professional of the year for customer service advisor, team leader, support professional, and manager. We then have 2 team awards, which is the team of the year, which is generally a frontline facing team. And generally, we give an indication that the team should be no more than about 20, but we're happy to take a little bit more. And if you have any concerns that the team you're entering is too big, as I say, just drop me an email or give me a call. And we also have support team of the year. And that generally tends to be what we call probably a back office team. It could be your HR team, your training team, your IT. And we've actually removed the category credit management team of the year this year, and that's now going to sit under support team of the year. So for companies who previously entered credit management team of the year, you'll now be entering that category, or for that credit management team under the support team of the year category. And then we look at things like processes and channels. And what we have here are training and development, use of technology, which this year we've divided into 2 categories, and I'll come back to you on that shortly. And then use of social media. And we've completely reviewed the criteria and use of social media this year. So again, I'm conscious a couple of companies on the call are former winners of this award. So just to highlight to you that we have changed the criteria for that category this year. Now, to be fair, it's very much in keeping with what we had there before. And then on the operations side, we have shared services center of the year, sales campaign, outsourced partnership of the year, best customer experience, and then the contact center of the year for small, medium, and large. And again, for small, medium, and large, we give a guideline in the application pack, which I'll highlight shortly, in terms of the approximate size of agents or staff in a contact center for the various categories. So small is less than 50, medium is 50 to 150, but I'll just double check that, and large is more than 150 employees in the contact center. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the actual application pack, which, as I said, is actually on the website, and just to go into a little bit of detail on a particular category, just to show you the format. But as I won't be going through each and every category. So as you can see there, that's our page listing all of the various categories for 2018. And you'll see there the closing date is 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 5th of September. And just to remind you all that we only accept entries via email to the awards@ccma.ie address. We don't accept hard copies, and we would ask that you submit all via email. So I'm just going to highlight this category to give you an example of how we outline the information we're looking for. So in each category, and this is best training and development, we give an overview of what the particular category is about. So in this one, we're talking about an innovative and strategic training development program that has had a real impact on the performance and results of the operation. So then we give a little bit more information, as you can see there, on the actual, the requirements of the overview of this category. We then talk to you about the criteria and the marks. We then tell you exactly what the word count should be. So this varies by category, and I'll highlight that in some of the other ones. But for the training and development, we look for 2,500 words, and that excludes headings and appendices. And you'll see we then ask in terms of appendices that you submit no more than 5. And what we're trying to do here is keep it as a level playing field as possible for all companies that are entering. And we really do feel in our experiences that 2,500 words is sufficient for companies to provide the information we require to judge this category. And we are quite strict. We are strict on the word count, and judges are very strict on the word count because they get very frustrated if companies go way over the word count. And in fact, they will deduct marks for companies who do that because they feel it's not fair, for the companies who have adhered to the word count. But also they get frustrated because sometimes companies can throw the kitchen sink at an entry, and they don't need to give all of that material. We're very clear in terms of what material what information we're looking for. So just to show you on this one, each category has 5 criteria. So you see 1 overview going down to 5 follow through. And what we're looking for is each heading to be followed exactly in your submission. We clearly say what the marks are. So we would have an expectation when you submit your entry for this category, for instance, that section 1 will obviously be the overview of the development and training objectives. And then we have sub-questions within that. And again, we just ask you to follow those headings, because from a judging perspective, it's much easier to mark and to score if the submission exactly follows the criteria that we've asked for. And some judges read each entry on its own, one at a time, but other judges actually will open every entry in that category, and they will review, for instance, in this case, section 1 for each entry at the same time. So for them to be able to do that and to compare and contrast between different submissions, we ask you to please follow these criteria and these headings that are shown there. So 1, overview of development and training; 2, design and delivery. So you see these questions and marks will vary depending on the category you're entering, but you can see there for the training and development one, we ask about design and delivery, we ask about the results, we ask about innovation, and then we also ask about follow through. Now, I'm just going to check, sorry, if there's any questions at this stage. No, I think we're fine. Okay, great. So I'm not going to go through every category, but I'm just going to highlight some of them. And as some of you will know, for a certain number of categories, we actually have a presentation element. And this next category, Best Customer Experience, is one of those categories. So this would be what we call one of the big awards of the night. And it obviously is for a company who has provided what's considered to be, leading customer experience in the previous 12 months. So any company who enters this category and is shortlisted will be asked to attend a presentation to a panel, normally of 2 to 3 judges, and I'll give you the dates at the end of this call. They will be in October time. So you'll be told you've been shortlisted. You'll be asked to come to a presentation, which normally is no more than 30 minutes. We generally hold them in the Clayton Hotel in Ballsbridge, which is where the awards take place. And we ask you to bring no more than 3 representatives from the company. And we ask you to do a very short presentation, and then the judging panel will have a number of questions for you. So that applies in a number of categories, and I'll highlight them to you as we go through. But this is the first one it applies to here, which is the Best Customer Experience category. So again, without going through it in all the detail, again, you'll just see the 5 different headings there, the marks clearly outlined, and the questions and the information we're looking for. And Best Customer Experience would be for any companies who are new to the awards and are thinking of entering for the first time. It's probably one of the most challenging, one of the more challenging categories to enter. We look for a lot of information, and it's a very comprehensive entry where, with some of the people ones, we're probably looking obviously for less information. And then, for your first time entrant, they might be a simpler one to enter. But again, I can talk to you about that separately if needs be. Again, not going to go through this. Outsourced Partnership of the Year, just to highlight, is for a company who outsource some of their customer services, and that's normally a joint submission. So it will be the outsourced partner and the company who is outsourcing with their outsourced partner who will enter it jointly generally, and then will also come to the presentation jointly if they're shortlisted in that category. And again, you'll see the type of questions we're looking for. Really, for that category, it's evidence of the partnership, how it's working, how you measure the success, how you invest in people and technology, and how the whole corporate governance side of it, and whole strategic management of the relationship. The sales campaign speaks for itself. It can be any type of specific sales activity or program that you've taken place. Conscious with all the new digital channels that in previous years, this would have been considered, sort of an inbound, outbound sales program. But now with digital channels, we're really looking for any activity or one-off program that has taken place during the year that has generated significant results from your perspective in terms of sales, return on investment, customer engagement. And we ask you to outline the objectives of the campaign, the results, the quality, the technology, and the learnings from the program. So that's very much a specific campaign program or campaign that we're interested in hearing about. So on technology, as I said, this year we've actually split technology into 2 categories. And the reason for this is that we found in the last number of years that it was quite a difficult category to judge, because we weren't in many cases comparing apples with apples. So some companies were entering best use of technology for very large scale strategic programs with significant investment that were a complete overhaul of their platforms, their omni-channel, digital, AI, all of that type of thing. And then we were getting companies who were putting in particular projects or particular initiatives that sometimes they'd built a really clever in-house technical solution to overcome a challenge or to improve customer service. So we've actually split it into those two types. So I'll just focus on this one for the moment. So as you can see here, what we're talking about here is a company that can demonstrate how they have successfully deployed new technologies or digital platforms to transform your business performance and customer experience. Now we're giving a guide here that the investment could have been circa around 1 million. Again, we're not strict on that, but what we are looking for is that entries in this category were big, significant technological transformation programs. So again, if you have any queries around that and you're not sure whether what you may be entering fits into that category or not, do get in touch. And just to say that as a new sort of subdivision of this category, and for this one, we'll be looking for companies who are shortlisted to come and present on this particular technology one, which is the strategic program. And you'll see the criteria then, and then what we've actually done is we have best use of technology tactical projects. So going back to my earlier point, this really, I suppose, ensures it's a level playing field for any of the companies entering these two categories, that we're comparing like with like. So again, this really is, we're asking about a specific type of technology, a tool or an application that you have, designed, implemented, to improve performance and customer experience. For companies shortlisted in this category, there will not be a presentation. But hopefully it's pretty clear when you go through the criteria. I mean, I think the criteria is very similar for both, but we're very clear in how we want to divide out any entries this year. So one is strategic program and two is tactical project, which is category 6. So next is best use of social media. And as I said, we've overhauled this category this year. And what we are doing is basically, I suppose, just taking account of how, social media developed, digital, all of that type of thing. So we're similar in terms of what we're looking for, an overview of your social media strategy, the measurements of success, the customer engagement through it, their feedback and adoption, the contribution to service improvement, and any learnings and future development plan. So similar in what we asked for, just the individual questions have been changed this year. So in terms of the people, and I'll just talk you through this advisor one, but this commentary fits for all of the people categories. So what we're looking for here in customer service advisor is, one of your top agents. I know many companies on the call have monthly advisor, agent, teammate of the month. So generally what companies do is they, select from the pool of people who've been getting that award over the last 12 months. And I suppose it's a given that this person is a very strong performer. We normally look, for somebody who, takes part in other activities, or is the one that's sort of the go-to person for a lot of support for new employees, things like that. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It's somebody that, as a management team, your HR department, your operational team, were to say, who's our top 3 advisor, that those names would come pretty clear to everybody at the same time in terms of the same person. So I think hopefully you know the type of person we're looking for. We are very clear that we only want 1,500 words in these entries for all of the people ones. We also only want 5 appendices. And could I also stress, because even though we say this every year, we still end up getting lots of testimonials. We really would prefer that you limit any sort of peer testimonials, customer testimonials, management testimonials to no more than 5. Because, some companies in previous years have provided 2 and 3 pages of testimonials. And we really don't need that. We just need the important few that you might have for that particular agent, either a customer compliment or something from a peer or a manager. And again, for this category and for all of the people categories, there is a short telephone, we call it a telephone interview. We try not to make it an interview, but we schedule a short call with all of the people who get shortlisted in this category. No more than 15 minutes. Each person is asked the exact same 3 questions generally, and we use that as part of our decision making on the day of the judges' meeting. So again, this will apply. The criteria for the individual awards are pretty similar. A profile of the person you're putting forward, a career history, a little bit on work-life balance, some information on their performance, some information on their customer focus. So any particular, examples you have of their commitment to service excellence, their contribution to service improvement and innovation. And generally, we find that people who are entered in this category, because they're considered one of the top advisors, they are often involved in project teams or brought to help on new projects, and also something on personal development, education, qualifications. And just to say at this point, if for any of the criteria in any category, you don't have an answer to the question. So, for instance, if a person, an advisor, hasn't undertaken any personal development, rather than ignore the question, just say, we don't have this information, or we haven't undertaken any personal development. So what I'm saying is, in any category where there's a question and you may not have the information or you may not have the answer to the question, rather than ignore it, just explain to us why you haven't been able to share that information with us. And that way the judges know you've looked at the question, but you haven't been able to answer it. Otherwise, they think you've ignored the question and you lose potentially some of the 15 marks, in that case, in personal development that were available to you. And sorry, just to mention that for all of these, we looked that the person has been in the role for a minimum of 1 year. So just to remember that. And the same for all of the other categories for the People Award. So again, team leader is a person who's managing a team. They must have been in the role for at least 1 year. They will also have a telephone interview. We also limit this to 1,500 words. And again, we ask for similar information in terms of their profile, the performance of their team, their approach to people management, contribution to service improvement, and their personal development. And again, you'll see that we ask for peer and management testimonials, and we would really encourage you to limit that to no more than 5 testimonials, and that is more than enough for the judges to get a flavour and a view of the person. We always encourage companies on the individual entries to include some photographs, of the team or of the team leader, of the advisor. I suppose it helps put face to the name, as it were, but it also just adds to the submission. So again, we'd encourage you, just 1 or 2. We don't need a family album. 1 or 2 photographs would be great as well. And then support professional. And again, this is a category that we entered, that we only brought in a couple of years ago, actually. And it's interesting in that sorry, on my inbox there, I forgot to close it because I was waiting for a few people to send the dial-in details to. Sorry, excuse me. So the Support Professional of the Year, so this is a category, as I was saying, we brought in a number of years ago, which is really for I suppose we call them the unsung heroes sometimes in a contact or customer service or shared services operation. So it might be your workforce planning person, your HR person, business analyst, your trainer, depending on the size of the organization. But it's the person that really are crucial to the day-to-day operation of the customer service center. And we want to obviously give them recognition. Again, we're looking for 1,500 words. Again, there'll be a presentation. Sorry, I'll just briefly show you the overview there. Sorry, bear with me a second. I think we might have sorry, I didn't see the question coming. Bear with me a second. Sorry, Christine. Okay, that's a great question. Should the Industry Professional of the Year submission be written from the first party or third party point of view? We generally find, if I'm understanding you correct, rather than the person write about themselves, they're generally written by somebody else on their behalf. And to be honest, of all of the individual submissions, I think 99% would be written by somebody on their behalf. So it's either, the manager, the team leader telling the story of their advisor, or somebody on the team telling the story. The same for the team leader at sport. So it's somebody talking about the person rather than the person talking about themselves. And we just, I suppose sometimes I think it works better, because I think sometimes when people are writing about themselves, they don't sort of want to put themselves up on a pedestal, and we probably don't get the full picture that where we find if somebody writes it about them. So one of their peers or one of their managers or team leaders, as I said, we just feel it works better. You get a better overview, you get better information. And I think people then aren't as reluctant to put forward their achievements and things like that when it's being written about them rather than writing about themselves. So I hope that answers your question, Christine. So again, this is Support Professional, just showing you the categories and just showing you the criteria again in terms of the profile, their performance, their collaboration and teamwork. So you see there's a common theme through all of the people categories that we're looking for: contribution, service improvement, and personal development. And just a reminder again to please keep the testimonials to no more than 5. And then the last category in this section of People Awards is the Manager of the Year. And again, this is a challenging one because we find that this is a category that we really have to encourage people to enter because, again, senior people tend not to be looking for the accolades and they look for the accolades for their team. But from an industry perspective, we really want to push this category because we do want to highlight and show the caliber of, really good managers as well as frontline people that are in our sector. So this is very much for a senior person. So it has to be the person who has overall full accountability for the shared service or customer service operation. And so we really need this to be the most senior person that is responsible overall for the contact center. And we really would encourage you, if some of you are on the call yourselves, or if you have somebody in your organization that you think would be great, a manager, and that you encourage them to look at this, because it really is good for the industry that we can recognize these people. It's all really good for the organization and obviously for the individual themselves. So because this one, we look for quite a bit of information. The word count on this one is actually it's higher at 2,500. And again, people on this one are, sorry, just checking that wasn't a new question. That's fine. Thanks, Christine. That they will be brought forward for a presentation. Actually, they will, sorry, just to say, for the advisor, team leader, support professional, it's a telephone interview. For the manager, it's a face-to-face. And again, it's with a panel of 2 to 3 judges. Again, pretty informal. But that's one category if I could really urge you to think about people, as I say, either yourselves or people in your organization that you think would be worthy winners of this award, because it's one that we really have to push people to enter every year. So similar to what we've said in the other individuals, the profile, the performance, their people management, their stakeholder management, and the personal development and thought leadership. So the next 2 categories are Team of the Year. I won't go through them in a huge amount of detail, except to say that obviously what we're looking for here is, a really high-performing team. So depending on the size of your organization, some companies may have 10, 20 teams, and you might keep, have a performance measurement against how teams perform against each other, sales or customer service. So, you might have a clear team that's the top performing team at all points, and that'll be the team that you put forward for this. One of the things that we find is missing in this entries for this category in some years is that people don't tell us a little bit about the team. Now, again, we don't want their family history, and we're looking just for 2,500 words, but it is really good to get a flavour of the team, and who the people are. Even if it's a one-line sentence about them, but I suppose it brings the team to life, and sometimes it can help explain, why they are such a good performing team, be it a multilingual team, a sales team, a customer service team, but even a little bit of information about each team member can be really valuable. But as I say, keep it short if possible. So these, as I say, must be a frontline team. We give an indication of no more than 20 advisors, but if it's 22, 23, there's no issue. If it's 3 or 4, it's no issue, because that's still a team of people who are performing a particular operation. And again, here we look for an overview of the team performance management, innovation and development, and the value to the business. And then the support team. So again, this is one where we're looking for, similar to the support professional, the back office team who are crucial to the efficient operation of your contact or shared services center. So we give an examples there, what areas they could be responsible or involved in. So it could be data, it could be HR, it could be finance, credit management, technical support, project management, change management. In the last number of years, if memory serves me right, predominantly this has been workforce planning teams, project management teams, less so HR teams and training teams. So we'd really encourage people to think about those teams, especially in the current environment. I think HR teams have a very challenging job. So just to think a little bit about people working on those teams, even as I say, if it's a very small team of 2 or 3, they still have a very important role and crucial role for the operation of the customer service centre. And again, we're looking for 2,500. And again, for this one, if you could give us a little flavour of the members of the team, and maybe the culture and how they're working so well together. So we look for an overview of the team, their performance, their training, their best practice, and their value to the business. So Shared Services Centre of the Year then. So this is for either an in-house shared services centre. And again, with shared services, the activities that can be undertaken can really vary. So it can be procurement, technical support, tendering, payroll, but that's not a complete list. So again, if there's a shared services centre doing other activities that we haven't included in that list, please do enter them. It can be a national or an international shared services centre. And again, we look for an overview, results, efficiencies, processes, and focus on staff and so focus on technology as well. And for that one, the word count is 2,500. And then I suppose the other, what we consider to be the very big, three big awards of the night are Contact Centre of the Year, Small, Medium and Large. So kicking off with small, the same criteria applies for all three categories. And because these are really, big awards on the night, we've increased the word count to 3,000. And again, for these, there will be a presentation for people who get shortlisted in this category. So for this one, we really wanted to be like a standalone contact centre. I know Merlin have been the worthy winners of this award for the last 2 years, which is a small contact centre in Kilkenny of less than 20 people doing phenomenal work in customer service and customer service support. So it really is, rather than being a small contact centre within a big organisation, we're looking for to be a standalone contact centre. And we're looking for to see the focus on customers, on staffing engagement, looking at performance against targets, and the application of technology. So as I say, the same criteria apply for the other two categories, which is medium and large. Medium, the indication, sorry, I think I said 150 earlier on. It's actually any contact centre between 51 to 200 staff or advisors. So again, if you fall just within or without of that and you're just a bit concerned whether you should be entering small, medium or large, just drop me an email or give me a call and I'm certainly happy to help you with that, which is the most appropriate one. And then large, which is the big award of the night, is for a contact centre with more than 200 advisors. And again, for companies who've entered any of these categories, small, medium, large, in previous years and maybe have been shortlisted but haven't won it, if you're entering again this year, for us this year, you need to highlight, what developments have taken place in the last 12 months. So, answer all of the criteria, but also highlight what things have happened, what improvements, what developments, what initiatives have been undertaken in the last 12 months, and also what's planned for the coming year. And again, you can see that the questions are similar across all of those categories. So just to go through terms and conditions very briefly for all of the awards. So for each entry, we give an indication of what dates should apply. So for instance, if you're sharing your statistics on, customer service satisfaction or customer satisfaction, NPS, we're asking you to do it from the 1st of August to the 31st of July. Now, again, if you only have stats until the end of June, or if you only want to give us a 6-month picture, it depends on each category, what data, what split of data you want to give us. But we are asking that it's within the last 12 months. So we can see trends, and ideally you give us a 12-month picture is what our preference would be. But again, for the individual and the people ones, if you can pull off the stats from the 1st of August last year to the 31st of July this year, or as I say, if you're working on your submissions now, even the end of June would be absolutely fine. And, maybe just put in a line to say, July stats weren't available at the time of putting in the submission or of completing the submission. That shows you the entry fees. So you can see it's 199 plus VAT for one, and for 3 or more, it's 159 per entry plus VAT. Fees are non-refundable. We give you details on making the payment. And just to say, the priority for us is to get the entries in, and I will follow up with you afterwards regarding the entry fees. We can invoice you whatever way you want to do it. Just let us know, and there will be an application pack or an entry form up on the website, hopefully in the next before the end of the week, to go with the submissions when you have them ready to send in. Each entry must be on the application form must be a declaration by an authorised company official to confirm that the information provided is accurate and truthful, and that's really important because obviously big decisions are being made on these entries, so we need to be 100% sure that the information, the data provided is accurate. So we ask that an authorised official within the company signs the application form to confirm that. Obviously, all of the information is treated in confidence. I've mentioned that for some categories there will be a presentation, and again, depending on the category, that if we don't get enough entries, there may not be an award made in a particular category, but we keep you advised on that if that is an issue. That's the email address for the awards to go to, and the closing date is the 5th of September at 5 p.m. and all submissions to be by email. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly go back to the presentation. I don't know if there's any questions at this stage. I don't see any, so we hopefully are okay. Bear with me, sorry. So I just want to explain briefly the judging process. So we have a panel of 12 judges, and obviously all sign strict non-disclosure agreements, and they tend to be, or they are predominantly independent consultants who are experts in the various fields for the category that we ask them to judge. And each different judges judge different categories, and that can change by year. Apologies, I just see a question there. Erin, the awards are on Saturday, the 10th of November, and it's in the Burlington, now called the Clayton. Hopefully, still called the Clayton by the time November comes, but on the 10th of November. The entries are issued to judges. As I say, not every judge judges every category, and different judges, different groups of judges judge different categories. And we have a scoring matrix, and actually that's probably an example of one down there where each judge will have basically an Excel spreadsheet where they go along and they give the scores for each category against the criteria that we've included in the application pack. They submit the scores, we produce a short list. For those that require presentation or telephone interview, we get in touch with those companies and we facilitate and organise all of that. And then the further scores given based on the presentations and based on the telephone interviews. And then we have a judging day where all of the judges come together and we discuss and agree the winners of each award. And then for the awards where there isn't a presentation or an interview, we agree the shortlist and also agree the winner. Sorry, I see another question there. Oh, no, that's fine. Thanks, Erin. Yeah. So, as I mentioned, there will be presentations, and these dates have yet to be confirmed, but I know at this time of the year, some people, it's useful just to have an idea of when the presentations may be. So at this point in time, we are hoping for companies who enter any of the categories listed there and who are shortlisted that the presentations will take place on the week of the 15th of October, and that they will be in the Clayton Hotel, and that they will be, as I said before, no more than a half-hour presentation. And what I normally try to do is get in touch with you the week before, and as much as possible, we will try to work to your diaries. But as you'll appreciate, we have a very tight window to do the presentation. So if you could just keep in mind that if you're entering any of those categories, it's likely the presentation will be between the 15th and the 17th of October. For the telephone interviews, we'll actually do them earlier. So for the telephone interviews, they will actually take place, hopefully, at this stage and planned, and on the week of the 8th of October. And again, I'll be in touch with you, and normally we have one contact point in every company for all of the entries, and I normally liaise with them, and we hopefully will facilitate everybody that's shortlisted and organise the very short calls with them the week of the 8th of October. So very quickly, hints and tips. I'm conscious of time. As I said throughout the call, we really ask you to follow the criteria, to follow the headings, and to be conscious of the marks awarded against each criteria. Really encourage you to adhere to the word limit. By going over, you just risk losing marks because judges, as I said earlier, get frustrated. Present your submissions in a clear and concise manner. For any new companies to the awards, I do have a sample of a winning award. It goes back to 2009, but it is a really good example. And if you want to have a copy of that, just drop me an email. Just in terms of the look and feel of a winning award, apologies. As I said earlier, certainly for the individual awards, but also for the team ones and for the 3 contact center ones, really do include pictures within reason. 2 or 3 pictures is more than enough. To give us a flavour of the facility, of the operation, of the individuals of the team. Very much if you can present performance stats in a graphical format, it's just easier for the judges to review and compare. Avoid in-house jargon. I might have this on the next one, yeah. We've had issues in previous years with companies who have in-house terminology that mean absolutely nothing to anybody outside the organisation. So we always encourage companies to get somebody outside the organisation to read the final entry, because there may be terminology you use that you completely understand, obviously, but we don't. And we have some companies who do provide a glossary of terms because they have a lot of in-house jargon. So just be conscious of that. And with all of the entries, what we're looking for is you to sort of spell out why you think you should win this particular category. So why is it that your program was the best training and development program, or your contact center is the best contact center? So, that can include culture. It can, include, things that you've done during the year, maybe increase in market share, that type of thing. And also when you're presenting stats, highlight the trend. So sometimes you might present a stat, but you really have to highlight what you want us to notice in that particular graph or chart, so that we make sure that the judges fully understand the information you're sharing with them. As I say, explain why you should be selected, maybe what's different about your organization, provide a picture, I've already said. Join the judges call, you've done that. Start working on your submission as early as possible. I cannot but encourage that, because I appreciate, and the judges appreciate, how much work goes into a submission. And what many companies do is they pull together a project team if you're entering 3 or 4 categories, because it's great to have a team and share the work out and share the different categories or criteria out. And in some categories we may be looking for very similar information in terms of overviews or whatever, and so it can save a little bit of work. But definitely, I'd be starting now, conscious it's the holiday season, but I'd still start now in terms of pulling a team together who can pull the information together, and then you'll go through a couple of versions of your submission, I'm sure. And as I say, get somebody outside of the business to read it, to check clarity and understanding. And that can be, time very well spent to make sure that somebody who's completely separate understands what message you're trying to get across. So just the dates for your diary. Wednesday, the 5th of September, the closing date. Shortlist will be allowed no later than Friday, the 26th of October, but we're actually hoping we'll announce it a little bit earlier than that, because I'm conscious that's going into a bank holiday weekend. And the award ceremony is Saturday, the 10th of November. So I think that's it. I'm not sure if there's any further questions. Let me just go back and make sure I haven't left anything out. We've do's and don'ts at the back, which is similar to what I've just gone through there. On the don'ts, sorry, just to highlight that. Don'ts look actually spelled wrong there, apologies. Don't ignore the criteria, and that's really important. As I said earlier, if there's a question that you either don't capture, so if it's a performance stats, for instance, that you don't capture that information, or if there's something that you don't do, or you don't have the information for, put in the heading and just explain to us why you can't provide that information. And that means, as I say, it means the judges will know you didn't ignore the question, and therefore you won't lose marks. And as well as avoiding in company jargon or explaining it, any acronyms that you use, please provide a clear definition. And really make sure that everything that you're putting in the submission is adding value to the submission, because, as I said, sometimes companies really do put everything in, like marketing brochures, flyers, all of that type of thing, that we really don't necessarily need. And, it's not the information that we've necessarily looked for. So really make sure that whatever you put in, given the word count, how strict we have to be on the word count, really do make sure that the information that you're putting in is adding value to the submission. And really don't leave it till the last minute. It can be really challenging if a week to go, you're trying to pull a submission together. The earlier you can start and work on the format, the better. And certainly, I know from companies that have been entering over the years, it is a really good exercise in terms of putting, a case study almost together. And companies often use the entries for other purposes within the organization. And it's a great way of, developing teamwork and getting, on the floor, getting people motivated and energized that, one of their team or them as a team are being put forward for an award. It's great accolade, it's great recognition, and obviously to be shortlisted or to win is a really good achievement. So I'm looking at the clock, it's 15:13, and that's all of the information I was going to go through today. Happy to take any questions. And as I say, a recording of this call will go up on the website shortly. The presentation will go up now this afternoon, and anybody that has any questions, please do feel free to get in touch with me. And really happy to have a separate call or to have a meeting if you want me to go through any of the information I just discussed in more detail. Okay, I think that's it. Let's give a minute or two in case there's any more questions, but I think we're there.